Hello, everybody. Hey, it's Rolf from Waves and Positions. I got a Substack where you can learn all kinds of interesting stuff that you may never have heard about, or maybe just you might know a little bit or heard the term, but I'll go into depth and tell you the origin, the history, the hidden history of where that came from. Today, I am here with my friend Benjamin Franklin, and we're going to talk about when he entered the cockpit, an Englishman, and walked out, an American. He walked into the cockpit, an Englishman, walked out, an American. All right. So everybody might have seen this beautiful face on $100 bill. That's because Benjamin Franklin is on the $100 bill. He's one of our founding fathers. He was a loyal British subject, and he just wanted peace. He was a peacemaker. He just wanted peace between the colonies and the English. But then they messed with him, and not someone you want to mess with. Okay, so here we go. This is the title: "The Day They Tried to Break Benjamin Franklin and Created an American Instead. How a Brutal Takedown Inside a Royal Cockfighting Arena Sparked the Rise of the Most Dangerous Man in America." All right, here we go. Here's where our story begins. January 29th, 1774. The Cockpit, Whitehall Palace, London. They called it the Cockpit because that's what it was. A pit of blood, a ring of wood and hay, where Henry VIII once staged live rooster fights for sport. By the 18th century, the feathers were gone, but the violence remained. Now the victims were human, and this time the rooster was Benjamin Franklin. He walked into the cockpit, a polished diplomat of the British Empire. He walked out, its most dangerous enemy. All right, the collapse. A man silenced and shamed. Benjamin Franklin was not on trial. He had come to testify calmly, reasonably, before the Privy Council, the King's elite advisory board, about rising tensions in the American colonies. But what unfolded was no hearing. It was a trap. For over an hour, Franklin stood silent as Solicitor General Alexander Wedderburn tore him apart in front of the British elite. Wedderburn called him a thief, a traitor, a dishonest man, accusing him of betraying the crown by leaking private letters that exposed the British plan to limit colonial freedoms. Franklin said nothing. Not a word. Not because he was weak, but because he was watching. A quote, "You do not defend yourself in the arena," he later reflected. "You survive, and you remember." When the abuse ended, the punishment came. He was stripped of his position as Deputy Postmaster General of North America. His reputation, dignity, and trust were left bleeding on the floor. He walked into the cockpit, a polished diplomat of the British Empire. He walked out, its most dangerous enemy. I entered the cockpit, an Englishman. Walked out, an American. Raising the stakes, the death of reconciliation. Franklin had spent years trying to bridge the gap between Britain and the colonies. He loved England. He loved England. He admired its institutions. He believed compromise was still possible. That belief died in the cockpit, and with it, the last real hope of peaceful reconciliation between the colonies and the crown. If he, the most moderate and loyal colonial representative, could be ambushed and destroyed, then what future was there for the rest of America? The answer was clear. Revolution wasn't treason, it was survival. All right, from Bloodsport to Blueprint, Franklin's revenge was a nation. Franklin didn't storm out of Whitehall. He didn't fire back with rage. He quietly walked away from the empire and began to build one of his own. He would go on to help draft the Declaration of Independence, become America's most trusted diplomat abroad, secure France's military support, which turned the tide of the Revolutionary War, shape the myth and mind of the new American identity. The British thought they were ending Franklin. They actually thought they were ending him. Instead, they gave him clarity. And from that clarity, he built a nation. The win-win lesson: how to survive your own cockpit. Everyone has a cockpit moment. You walk into a room expecting dialogue, and suddenly you're under attack. Your integrity is questioned, your name dragged, your loyalty used against you. What you do in that moment matters more than what got you there. Franklin did 4 things, and they're the blueprint for turning humiliation into heroism. Number 1, he stood silent and still, not because he had nothing to say, but because his enemies had revealed everything. Number 2, he let the public shaming sharpen him, not break him. Franklin didn't collapse. He converted pain into perspective. Number 3, he pivoted instead of begging. He didn't chase apology or restitution. He returned home and rewrote the rules. Number 4, he turned rejection into revolution. The empire kicked him out, so he built a new one, bigger, freer, and better. What to do when the world tries to humiliate you? Well, let this be your real world system when the betrayal hits. Don't interrupt the attack. Record it. Their cruelty is your clarity. It shows you who's real. Deny them your emotional reaction. Shock them with stillness. There's nothing more terrifying than exposure in chaos. Let the pain guide your transformation. Pain isn't the end, it's the mold. Create something so powerful they can't ignore you again. You don't need revenge, you need results. Final thought: you're one room away from who you're meant to be. Franklin didn't plan to become a revolutionary that day. He didn't walk into the fire. He walked in with hope. But when the empire tried to humiliate him, he let them show their hand. Then he rose in silence, walked out of the pit, and changed the world. You might be in your own cockpit right now, maybe a boardroom, a courtroom, a breakup, a betrayal. Maybe you thought it was a conversation, but it turned into crucifixion. Good. Because this is where your old self dies and your new power begins. You don't need to win the room. You just need to walk out with purpose and build something they can't stop. Yeah. So let's check this out again. And I'm wearing my, if anybody wants some pure and clean water company, this shirt is a little shout out to one of the best TV shows of all time. It's called The Expanse, which you can watch all 6 seasons on Prime. It's just a really good show. It's another example of a show where it has a very diverse cast, but nobody cares. because it's like the best show. It's like one of the best shows ever made. And this is one of the actual companies. I got a T-shirt out of it. So yeah, that show, and then another one of my favorite shows of all time is, I just go on and on about how it does not matter what your movie's about, who's in it. It just has to be good. Like we're talking about, we just went back to the moon this last week, and just one of the best movies of all time is this movie called Hidden Figures. And it's about these women at NASA. Women. Some people would call them black women. But I just looked at them and thought they were women. And they were so important and so integral to the space program. And the movie's just fantastic. I mean, if you haven't guessed already, my favorite type of story is the zero to hero type of story. And these women literally had the title, their job title was computer. Like if someone said, "What's your job?" "Oh, I'm a computer." This is before desktop computers. Humans were the computer. So again, I'm from Rolf from Waves and Positions. If I can get one person out there to achieve their dream, I feel like this isn't all a waste of time, because I believe everyone has a superpower inside of them. And you just have to figure out what that is. And if you struggle with something, there's somebody else out there who has the superpower of the thing you struggle at. And you just got to go find them, and they'll do the part you have a hard time with. You just figure out what you're the best at. And all the other stuff you struggle at, there's someone else who's a superpower. That's their superpower. All right. Well, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much.